The short film I chose to analyse was The Black Hole. The Black Hole is a comedy about an ordinary guy with a normal office job carrying out normal office tasks such as the photocopier. As these are tedious tasks, the man is obviously very bored until the photocopier prints out a black hole on a piece of paper. The black hole allows the man to put his arm through objects such as the vending machine. The man tries to steal money out of the safe in the office, however, he puts his whole body through the black hole, falls in the safe and gets trapped. This is a circular narrative, which is a common convention in short films. However, it is slightly different to Todorow's narrative theory, which states that there is an equilibrium disrupted by disequilibrium, and then there's a new equilibrium. Because the narrative starts off at a disequilibrium of being bored in the office, then an equilibrium of the black hole, and then a new disequilibrium of being trapped in the safe. Media language is an important part of creating a short film and has a big impact on how the audience interprets the film. Mise-en-scene is an important aspect of media language. The setting and props of the black hole show that the office is a dull, depressive place and show that the main character hates being there. The man has a bored facial expression at the beginning of the film, and there is dull lighting to make it look like a dull place. There is also a lot of grey in the film, such as the walls in the office, the photocopier, the desk, the computers, etc. The man is also wearing a normal scruffy suit with a grey tie. All these things help give the impression that he doesn't want to be there. Camera angles are another important aspect of media language. There is lots of close-ups on the man to show that he is the main character. Furthermore, sound is another important part of media language. There is no non-diegetic sound in the film to show the dullness of the office. Furthermore, there is usual office sounds such as the photocopier, which also shows the dullness of the office. The film begins and finishes with the same photocopier noise to represent the circular narrative. Editing is the final aspect of media language. Editing is slow-paced at the beginning to relax the audience, and the pace gets faster as he's stealing the money to panic the audience. Representation. The representation of the main character is important because this encourages the audience to make up their own expectations about what will happen to this character. The main character in The Black Hole is represented as a normal guy who hates his office job and wants to go home. This is shown through his bored facial expressions, dull clothing, dull setting, and his constant looking at the clock. Audience expectations. The narrative of this story doesn't meet audience expectations because the audience would have expected the man to steal the money and run away with it. However, the man unexpectedly gets trapped inside the safe. We have taken many aspects and ideas from The Black Hole and used them in our own film, as we believe they have similar narratives and characters. The main character in The Black Hole is trapped in a boring office life, just like our character, so we're going to use a similar mise-en-scene to represent this. Like The Black Hole, we will dress our actor in dull, smart office clothes and instruct her to have very bored facial expressions. We are also going to use dull lighting, props and settings to enhance the dullness of her life. Furthermore, we only have one main character in our film, just like The Black Hole. The character is by themselves through the whole film, and no dialogue is used to show the character's feelings, emotions and the narrative of the film, which is exactly what we're going to do in our film, as we feel this is the most effective way of showing our narrative.
A fantasy about life after death. The audience then see Mr. Pink in a number of scenarios before the little girl Rose and her brother say goodbye. The storyline to Goodbye Mr. Pink is very different to ours, however there are a few similarities. Mise-en-scene. The short film is shot in a barn which is quite dark and gloomy. This aspect adds to the idea of an unusual fantasy about the dead rabbit. The barn looks worn down and old, and the lighting is also quite dark. The characters blend into their surroundings and match the setting. Editing. A lot of animation is included throughout almost the whole film. This includes the movement of various objects and other animals moving around the barn. The scenes show the dead rabbit in different scenarios, and the rabbit appears to be alive. Camera angles. Camera angles show a lot of close-ups of the moving objects and the rabbit. The medium shots of the rabbit doing various things like eating and having its ears clipped with crocodile clips show the dead rabbit and the girl as the girl sees it in her imagination. Sound. The sound included matches what the rabbit is doing in the girl's imagination. They become more tense during certain points of the film. Sounds, which are usually quiet, have been exaggerated for the audience, like the scissors cutting fabric. Audience expectations. Our film is also a fantasy, and it plays with the audience's expectations, just like Goodbye Mr. Pink, where the audience expect the little girl to bury her pet straight away, instead of using his body to tell stories. In our short film, the audience don't expect the woman to get swallowed up by the box. Narrative. Mr. Pink is structured into 3 main parts. The rabbit dies, the children make up a story and then bury the pet. This is the same with our story. The unlucky woman finds the magic box, she takes advantage of the box, and then she is swallowed up by it. The catalyst, which sets off something, which leads to the next point in the structure as Goodbye Mr. Pink, is the death of the rabbit. The catalyst, which leads to the next point in the structure in our film, is when the woman takes advantage of her luck. 1 main character. In Goodbye Mr. Pink, there is more than one character, therefore it is difficult to distinguish who the main character is. However, in our film, there is only one character. It is obvious that she is the main character, and the whole film and the events which occur are based around her and her life.